Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Muhammad Danish from KPMSI. I am an English communication student and I'm here today to interview someone about the issues of English in foreign language. So without further ado, could you introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Karim. I am an international exchange student, chemical engineering, and I'm staying here for one semester.
Okay, so let's start with the first question. Karim,
Yes.
can you share your daily interaction experience with your colleagues? Do you have any difficulties to understand certain words due to the sound or pronunciation produced?
I would say a little bit. There are some words that might sound different, certain ways. Sometimes the letters are change positions, so the word would sound a little different. But in general, I've been able to understand the accent fine. Alhamdulillah, I'm fine with it. So yeah, there are some difficulties, but I got used to it.
Oh, well, how do you handle the situation if it does occur?
Usually, I just ask them to repeat the second time. If the first time isn't very clear, by the second time I can understand it. So I think it's not that bad that I don't understand at all. It's usually the first time I think I understand, but I'm not sure. So I ask them to repeat, and then I will understand by the second time. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next question. So, do you incorporate slang in your daily interactions while speaking to others who come from a different culture than you? So, can you please explain your experience and examples if you have any slangs?
I try not to because if I incorporate slang, they might not understand, and slang differs as well from region to region.
Yeah.
But mainly I used normal slang like bro or boss, these kind of like small talk slangs, because it's easier than to call out people, especially because I don't know many people, so I don't know their names.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
I would call them, yeah. But other than that, I try to avoid slang as much as possible to be able to communicate properly.
Oh, so how does people around you respond, or how is their acceptance every time you do use a slang?
If I do use slang, most of the time it's widely known slang, so it's understood. So there's no issues. I haven't had personally any issues yet with that. So and I plan to keep it that way. So if there are any issues, I'll probably have to fix the way I talk. But so far, no problems.
Oh, okay. So for the next one is, what do you think about making eye contact during conversation?
Okay, right now, we're making eye contact. It's very important. It's very important. It's There are many techniques to eye contact. Some ways that can help with keeping eye contact. There's a way where you can switch from left eye to right eye. There's a way if you're nervous, if you're talking to a crowd and you're nervous, you can look at the forehead and it will look the same way. I use that a lot, especially early on when I was still having some fear. But eye contact is key in communication. Yeah, very key.
So do you think eye contact is important for an effective conversation?
It depends. It depends on who you're talking to. If it's someone close, not necessarily. If it's a close friend, you can talk without even looking at each other. And I feel like that's a sign of closeness because you've communicated with each other so much, you understand each other. So there's no need for this form of communication, which is eye contact. But with strangers, with professors in a professional setting, these kinds of things, eye contact is key, yes. And especially when it comes to situations that require communication, like giving a presentation, or giving a speech, or giving an interview, like right now.
Okay, so for the next question is, what does silence communicate based on your cultural background? Does it affect your communication?
Usually, silence isn't a bad thing, but it isn't necessarily a good thing either. It depends on the context. If there's silence between conversations, that sometimes is normal. Again, it could be a sign of closeness. If you're close with someone, it'll be a comfortable silence. But if it's after like a bad conversation or a fight, silence can be awkward, especially with strangers. Also, silence with strangers is awkward. But it can also, in my culture, usually it can indicate anger, right? Like a way of not talking to someone purposefully. So it could indicate anger as well. It could communicate that emotion. But again, it depends on the context.
So, do you think silence communication are important in daily environment?
In daily environment, yes, you can't expect someone to always talk, right? If I meet someone, I don't always want to talk to them. You can have small talk the first time you meet them or saying your greetings and stuff. But in general, with the flow of time and with the flow of the day, you can't expect someone to always talk. So silent communication is also important. There's ways through hand gestures. It's very normal to be able to like go to a restaurant, for example, pick out your food, order your food, and get it without even needing to say a word. So this is where silent communication can come in. You can use hand gestures. You can signal to someone, for example, when you get a grab, when you get a taxi, you want to go somewhere. There's no need to really communicate. So silent communication is also a skill that can be used.
Okay, moving on to our second last question. Do you believe different ethnicity has different approaches to solve conflict? Would you mind sharing your experience about any of this?
Uh, I don't want to be, I don't want to categorize anyone. I don't want to assume anything about a group of people. But certain ethnicities do follow certain mindsets. I wouldn't say ways of solving conflict, but there are different mindsets. With experience, mainly some Europeans, for example, they take a more serious approach to problem solving. So they're kind of serious. It could get angry. Maybe with US, it's a bit more anger. It's a bit more strained, the way to solve the problems. Personally, here I found it the nicest way. It's very calm and relaxed. I feel like take it slow, take it easy, be calm with the problem and try to approach it properly, and then try and solve it properly. I think this is my experience so far.
So that means for the last question, which way of solving do you prefer?
Yeah, I prefer this way of solving calm, no problems. It's a lot better because it also helps you think clearly. Because if you are very strained and angry and anxious about a problem, you might miss the obvious solution. So this, when you're calm and your mind is calm and clear, you can approach the problem properly and solve it quickly. So
Yes, I do agree. And with that, that's all of the 10 questions that I have for today. Well, looks like this is where we say goodbye. Thank you so much for cooperating with me today.
yes, thank
I
you.
hope we could have more interactions in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Right.